Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Welcome. Happy Friday. Happy Saturday, wherever you are in the world. We are so thrilled to have you with us at USA Global TV and Radio. We proudly provide world-class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. And thank you to all of you who are watching on our video platforms and those people listening on our audio platforms. I am Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and our show today is Coexistence and Sustainability with pet psychic Amina. And today we're going to talk about those beautiful saltwater fish. We're going to be exploring the world of saltwater fish and marine life. So let's welcome the star of our show. She's joining us from sunny, probably California in the US of A. She is not only a pet psychic, she is also a pet trainer. She's also a keynote speaker, and she's someone who really gives her heart and cares so much about this planet. Welcome, pet psychic Amina. Hello.
Thank you so much. If I was feeling low, that really picked me up. So thank you so much. I mean, we all do this. You and I have been doing this together for so long, and we do it because we're passionate about it. So it's kind of nice to hear, your side of it, of just saying, hey, it's great what we're doing. And I hope everybody gets all the passion of love and understanding and knowing we don't have to squish all the spiders. We don't have to, run over things that we don't understand or give Twinkies to wildlife. Please don't.
All good points. I just noticed before the show started, there was a little tiny lizard and it was stuck in between the screen and the glass door. So I went outside and I pulled the screen. I said, come on, little fella, come on out. Yes.
And just, people need to keep in perspective. We're the carnivore. That lizard's going, oh, I am now dessert.
Yes.
And it's like, no, let's coexist. Because I'll let you eat the bugs.
I'm sure definitely when they see the size of a human being, right? So before we get into our topic today, which is saltwater fish, we're going to be talking about fish as pets. We're going to be talking about fish in kind of interesting scenarios when I've been to restaurants where they have fish underneath glass as you're walking in. And then, of course, there's koi fish in various places. But tell us about how you feel about being a pet psychic.
Blessed, absolutely blessed. I have to, in all clearness, as I tell with everybody, when I was young, I just thought everybody heard what I heard. And what happens pretty quickly, and I come from a public speaking family, so lots of things, was in 4-H, did a lot of talks even as a child. And then you get this look, and everybody says, what did you say? And I said, well, didn't you hear they said this? And I'm talking about the bird or the lizard or whatever. And everybody looks at you like, no, I didn't hear that. And you stop talking about it. But for me, I'm really thrilled. I get to share that with all of you and say, wait a minute. If you think your animal, your cat, your dog, your lizard, your whatever you have, parakeet, is trying to get a message to you, go with yes, probably. And how do you figure that out? The same way that we do as people. You're going to watch their body language. You're going to watch their hand signals. You're going to watch, is their fur standing up? And I'm talking about the pet now. And all of those cues, because animals communicate just as complicated and as depth as we are. So keep that in mind.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing your passion and joy when it comes to being a pet psychic. And by the end of the show, we'll be reviewing your website, how people can contact you and hire you for a reading, as well as many other things. So we're going to talk about saltwater fish today. Are there any inherent differences between saltwater fish and freshwater fish?
Not that I've ever read about or seen. It would be like saying, for example, I live in the desert and somebody else lives in the ocean, by the ocean. And that's a human choice, or they happen to have been born in that area and you're acclimated to the weather. I grew up in the high desert in California, and it's really hot. It's really, really hot. 190 degrees, 100 and everything. And yes, we got off the courts and we stopped all kinds of athletic things because it was really too dangerous to be in that kind of dry heat and participate. Animals go through the same thing. Animals go through the need for water is essential to all of us. If you want one thing that you want to help with the world, conserve our water. Don't wash your car and rinse it down and use the bubbles. Go to a car wash. They usually recycle their water. Most of them do, at least the ones here in California. And you can actually get a sponge and get it wet and, and kind of do that. And if you don't use soap, or a soap that's dangerous to plants, you can water your plants at the same time as you wash your car. I want you to please start thinking in, how can I do this with as little of effect on those things around me? Animals, mineral, neighbors, whatever that is, because that's where we need to be. The trees that you see in this fabulous background that we have for our show is essential for us to survive, not just pretty. It's part of your breathing to have the trees.
All right, there you have it about the trees. Thank you. Thank you. So for people who are interested in starting an aquarium, would you recommend freshwater fish or seawater fish, ocean fish?
It depends on the person. If you're going to go with just regular water, you are probably going to have a lot less work, because when you get to the ocean and you get to the salt water and you have these animals that are depending on that environment to live and to thrive, that means you are now both, you have to test the water, you have to have a temperature gauge in there, you have to be feeding them the proper food. This is where a really good pet store really becomes necessity. All of this, you'll see fish that will get leeches, or not the leeches, but the blisters, and they'll get sores and they'll belly up and not be breathing and die because of not having the food and the environments that is necessary. So know about the work you're getting into. They're beautiful. You'll see a lot of business offices that have these beautiful fish tanks. And it's usually a type of business where there's a lot of anxiety or everybody's working there. It would be really interesting to see if anybody knows like a law firm or a tax person who works on taxes all the time and not, and has an office. These are where I always saw a lot of fish and a lot of tanks because they're very soothing. They're very soothing. So think about that when you decide how much work is going to go into keeping them alive, changing the water, making sure you have the right filters, making sure you don't have any vibrations of, I don't know, you have a train going by. There's animals that might kill them. You need to do your research. Start with somebody who is already either doing it or this is their field of expertise, and always think about YouTube. We have our channel here for that, and it's a great place, a resource of just, hey, I want to know more about fish, or I want to know more about this. And then I'll have a lot of us who just love sharing our knowledge, and you can look that up here.
Yes, you can. Think about what you're doing before you do it, do some research, etc. So, what about in terms of seawater, saltwater? I've always thought and been told that there are unique creatures in the ocean that would not be able to live in freshwater.
Yep. And that's why it's absolutely essential. I don't care if you get whatever kind of fish you want, or you decide to get a parakeet instead later on, or whatever animal you decide to bring into your life, you must, for your sanity, for any heartbreak, any possibility of death or disease, you need to do your research. What is fabulous now is YouTube, and more than us, there's so many of us doing this free information because we want the animals to thrive. We want you to have a great experience, not have come home from work one day and all the fish are upside down. I went through that as a kid and was like, yeah, this isn't good. And that was just little goldfish, but it was still heartbreaking. Nobody wants their pets, whatever they are, to suffer or not thrive, and everything in between. Do your homework when it costs you nothing. That's what a library is for. That's what videos from people like me are for. We are trying to help you have so much enrichment in your life, but is it the right type for you? And which type? There's a lot of fish out there. There are a lot of birds out there. I adopted, I got it from somebody who couldn't keep her, and she was a little sun conure. It's a bird. It's a teeny little bird, but it's a pretty small bird. What I wasn't prepared for is her name was Maggie, and she was very bonded to me. So every time I got up, Maggie announced it to the entire house. Even my neighbors, the ones that didn't live with us, would say, we always know when you're up. I said, what? Why? And she says, because Maggie always starts talking. And I'm thinking, wow, that's too much information. But I didn't know that about sun conures until I got one. Beautiful little birds. Extremely loud, especially if they can't see their person. So be aware. Buyer, be aware. Isn't that how the saying goes? Because I don't want you to have a heartbreaking experience, and or the animal have that also.
Buyer beware. Yes, very good. Amina, I'm wondering also for young children who maybe would like to learn what it's like to have fish, and the parents don't want to go out and buy the tank and all of the work, the filter. What about a goldfish, or what about one of those betta fish?
I would go with a goldfish because they're incredibly simple, but the parents have to participate. If you have a child, I don't care if they're 20 or 12 or 2, we all get tired Oh, do I have to feed the fish? I just want to sit down. I had a busy day at school, or I got an argument, or we're just tired. It happens. Have a backup. Either you have a couple of kids and they're going to go into it together. And so on Tuesday and Wednesday, one feeds and the other, rotate it so that everybody has somebody to back them up. What I found out as a child is, yeah, my mom would let us adopt all the stray cats in the neighborhood that we wanted, but she wasn't going to pay to have them fed. And the other worst part is, we didn't, in that time, it would have been what, the 70s, we weren't spaying and neutering animals. So we were having kittens and more kittens, and until the one female that we had the longest, she died because she kept having kittens over and over and over and over. And she'd go into heat, and the boys across the street would come over, and eventually it killed her. It was about her third litter in a row, not every spring. So you have to remember, you're taking on a life. What is your lifestyle? What does your day look like for this animal? You get a dog, well, you better get some tennis balls and a place to run around, because dogs are typically, unless you get one of the little bitty ones, need exercise. Cats, on the other thing, want hours to sleep, at least. And then sure, they'll be friendly, because that's up to you. How the relationship goes is how you decide to show up. If you're going to yell at your pets all the time, that's not going to be a very positive, loving situation. Believe it or not, fish can be very personable. They can be, it just depends on the type of fish you get. So don't stop with, go to the library. Ask the librarians, do you have on fish? I'd like to find out what's the best kind to get. Well, how long do they live? What kind of attitude do they have? Because everybody has a limit of, I need food, I want to be around you. Now, from the outside of the tank, you're going to have this conversation. And if you truly love these animals, then hopefully being with them is really healthy for us. A lot of companies put fish tanks right outside their door before people go in, especially attorneys. You see a lot of this with some really tough things. Imagine you have to go see an attorney for something. I can't imagine it's just to buy a house, because you don't really need an attorney for that for most things. But maybe it's a tragedy in your life, and that helps. You can see them in law offices. You can see them in corporations, and you'll see these beautiful tanks. And what they're doing is, the staff typically, I've never heard any of the staff ever managing, cleaning, feeding the fish. Maybe feeding, but they have a professional that their whole job is to go from business to business to business and maintain their tanks. It's the same in restaurants. They get a specialist. So don't think that you're not going to need to read up. You're going to have to research this and figure out what you're ready and able to do for the lifetime of that animal. That's really essential. The lifetime of the animal, not how you're doing on Tuesday.
Yeah, the animals don't care because they still need to be taken care of, which is another, it's another great point. And I've also seen in dentist's office as well, where they don't actually have the live fish tank. They have a video screen of fish swimming. And when you watch it, it's so peaceful. And
and so cheap on the dirt.
Yeah, for sure. But I'd like you to talk a little bit about the influence or the impact that we humans have had on the living conditions of the marine life.
Well, we've kind of tanked that one. Look at what we're doing. We're moving our stuff from gasoline to cars to whatever, from one state, one country to another. You get these cars that are foreign and they come into the US and vice versa. They're all coming some way. So I'm targeting right now is the people that take these giant ships to bring goods to another country, to another place. There are places that are the capital of where rice is built or grown, not built. And or this type of animal is here, so they're going to bring that animal over live. Hopefully, that's usually how it's done because it's much more fresh. And then it's butchered in the country, state where it's going. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of knowing where your food is coming from. But you also therefore need the professionals who know how to keep those animals alive. Unless they're pre-frozen on the trip to another country, that's a whole different type of thing. But most people today with deer even, and a lot of other animals that we've always gone hunting for, they are usually kept alive until they're at the place where they're going to become food. And the idea has always been that it's much more fresh, it's much healthier, and disease, they don't have to keep an ice and then all the expense that goes with that, which means the meat then is much more expensive. So think about where your animals, pets, especially if you're eating them, where are they coming from? Really, really look into that and decide, is that all the things they're going to do? Because they'll have a whole page of what they do and how they get it to you and that type of stuff. Even if you get live animals, they still document all of that. Because think about the person who owns these, or this is their company, and these animals, God forbid, pass away, one or two on the way. That loses money out of their job. So they would keep track of that. And those are the things you need to know. What does this animal have? What kind of diseases can they have? What kind of life? What kind of habitat they need? Can you provide it? Be realistic. If you want to raise a whole bunch of butterflies, well, that's great. You go through the chrysalis stage when they're in a cocoon, and they go free, because I can't imagine you want them flying around your house. And they need the flowers outside. It would be really hard to get them adequate food. It would be a lot of work. It can happen, but it'd be a lot of work. So think about what you're doing and what type of animal you're looking at and what the use is, or what the life expectancy with your family, your kids, yourself. All of these have pockets of information you need to know and you need to do something about, or know that you're going to have to participate in all of those things. Imagine if you got a pig and he rolled around in mud all day, and that was really great for their skin, but you walked around your house. I don't think anybody would like that too much, because they don't clean up after themselves. I promise they don't.
That's a funny one.
Well, and people don't think about this. They, oh, look at that cute little puppy. And then they throw up and poop.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, who's doing that?
Right.
And it's everybody's the dog is now everybody else's responsibility.
Right. We only want it when it's sweet and cute.
Yeah. And when it doesn't need anything, I'm going to go take it for a walk. This is so wonderful. And you're like, great. Who's picking that up? The poop and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know about your neighborhood, but when you come out our houses, we have a strip. I don't know why they did this, of bushes where the people park their cars. So it's like half the car, you got to climb over these silly bushes. But all the people who have dogs walk them through those bushes to pee and poop and all that. Now, luckily, our neighborhood is pretty good. I haven't seen any poop lately, but it happens. And if you're not willing to pick up, let me be really clear. It's not biodegradable, because we feed processed food. If you're eating all organic, great. In about 3 weeks, your dog's cat's poop will be gone. But nobody wants to see that. So remember, when you choose a pet, when you choose a different way to do things, remember what all of that needs. They need a walk if they're a dog especially. They need grooming. They need food that is very specific. And they need time with you. Those are the pet ones. Your fish, I promise, probably won't notice unless you don't feed them.
All right. Yes. I want to just drill down on that a little bit also. Fish also have waste, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, how does a person handle that if you do have just a little
Well,
goldfish?
we get a net. We move them into another bowl, and it's usually something that has the old water in it. And then you have the whole tank bowl, whatever big of animal it is now available to scrub, clean, even your cat litter. Even if you have an animal that does litter, and there are a lot of neat pet stores out there now have bark and all kinds of different things you can try that works maybe better, works less, it doesn't give them a rash, all this kind of stuff. But most of the cages, like you think of a hamster, it's all wood chips, all shredded up, really, really, really soft, because these little bitty hamsters. So that kind of stuff. You get cats indoors like we do, and it's all sand. Well, it sticks to them too. So what we have is mats outside of the box. So automatically the cat has to walk over these mats, and the sand comes off through the ridges, and then you just dump it back into the litter box. Is it that simple? Yeah, pretty much. And once in a while, there'll be some that sticks to their toes or something and doesn't come out. You need to plan for this. Do you have a closet you want to put your litter and your box there, or do you want it in the middle of the room? Or there's a lot of choices. There's a lot of scents. There's a lot of types of rock. You need to decide what you want to try. Get your vet's opinion. This is why they have that degree, to help people with their pets. And there's tons of people that have pets that can give you advice. It doesn't mean it has to be, oh, you can only do it this way. Animals are pretty open to a lot of things. But I would highly recommend, if you have cats, please keep them inside. And the reason why I gently please bear with you on this is our bird population, the wild birds, are being decimated because so many people have cats that they let them do indoor, outdoor. And that a lot of people think it's cruel to keep them in, but if they have enough to do and they have cat trees to climb and windows to look after, under and through, and you have you and maybe another cat to hang out with, they have a good life. But their feces are not biodegradable. It's not something you can throw in the garden. You can't leave it out for the same with the dogs. You can't leave it out on the bushes because all your neighbors going to hate you. And it doesn't biodegrade. That's the bottom line. You can feed organic food and be in a better place. And maybe it will. But think about it this way. And I know, Dr. JACALYN, you've had a dog. You know what I'm talking about. And you had the little one. And you go around, and who wants to step in dog poop? And sometimes, I don't know you, I've actually walked back in the house and didn't know it was on my shoe. Luckily, I don't wear my shoes in the house anymore. But it's terrible. It's really, really terrible, because then I got carpet, poo, and all kinds of things. And I got the cats trying to pee on top of it. Yeah, it just gets into a cycle of terrible. So remember what your life is like and the type of animal that might fit in that scenario. We got one or two of our cats when my girls were in college. So they were home a lot, studying a lot. It was nice to have a cat on their lap. And we had them for the whole 15 years of their life. And it worked. So remember, there are pets that might fit into a busy lifestyle. If you've never seen these amazing dogs that ride around with their owners on motorcycles with hats on and gloves and the whole thing, and they love it. But not every animal is going to love everything you do. So remember, just like people, they have pros and cons of what they like to do and not do. Really, really look into the breed. That's going to make a big difference. Now, if they're mixed breed, you kind of have to go with it. But if you're dealing with a short, a stocky dog and or a big giant Saint Bernard, yeah, it's a huge difference. It's a huge difference. And it's going to be a huge change in your life. So please realize you're going in there with a life. This is a living, breathing, and a sentient animal that wants to be a part of you, especially the dogs. They're all pack animals. Cats, they're kind of going to love you and half the time and then be ready to lay on the couch by themselves. And that might be good for your type of family. So keep that in mind. And fish are fabulous, but you got to be able to clean the tank. You got to. It's really essential to their health and well-being.
Thank you, Amina. Can you share with us, I think we all have an idea about how to transport a dog or a cat if we are going on a plane or a train or in a car. What about when you have fish? Is it best just to leave them with a neighbor or something, or can you actually travel with fish?
Don't even risk it. You're looking at, imagine you've got a little bowl and this is the traveling part and they slosh all over and then you got to feed them and then you got to clean it and you don't have a place to clean it because God forbid you're not going to use the plane's bathroom. Everyone's going to go, what are you doing? And nobody's going to let you do a lot of things with animals that have those kind of needs. If you are into exotic animals and you have a chinchilla or God help you, a monkey or chimpanzee or something really unusual, you're not going to want to take them because it's not good for the animal. First and foremost, you're going to get a lot of backblow from either the driver or the stewardess or somebody and say, well, you can't bring that on, because dogs and cats get that kind of response. Nowadays, if you have a certified, registered, meaning you got all the paperwork up on a service animal, it is even more and more people are finding that their mental health does better with a pet. And this is really common knowledge throughout all of us who love animals. We know they make us better. So there's a lot of people that don't like that, don't like you having it on the plane, train, whatever. It's like, oh, well, they don't look like a service animal. And I don't know what a service animal looks like besides their jacket. And that's why it's legally really important that if you have a service animal, they have their jacket on. If they're not working and you're just going for a time in the park, that's totally different. But animals need to have that on a plane, train, going in somebody's car, a taxi, all of that kind of stuff. Because legally, you're able to have those animals in those places. Not everybody, but you still have to have the wherewithal to make sure you have to have them potty trained so they go in one place. But you literally, Dr. JACALYN, I don't know if you've seen this, but I've seen people take little paper towel and they rip it now in different lengths. And they put that down, the pet goes, defecate, and because the urine, you need a little bit more. They fold it all up just like a dog in the doggy bags, and they throw it in the trash. It is that easy to get your animal trained if you are focused. Give them something positive. Give them lots of hugs and kisses right after they got their potty in the same place, whatever that is. There are diapers for dogs and cats. 90% of those diapers are used for not getting pregnant. And when they go through the heat and they're like, no, we don't want any babies. So they get that all wrapped on those animals. But you can use them for other things. You can use them for other things. Remember, we are the ones who are showing our pets how to go through life with us, not the other way around. Because if it's the other way around, you probably got a really aggressive animal or a really crazy one. And I really would love to see you guys have a wonderful, equal relationship. And the love and the genuineness that we get from pets. I know you've had one, Dr. JACALYN. I've been lucky enough to have quite a few. And one of my great ones, we were talking about it in my family just the other day, is a horse. I literally rescued a horse. And the glitch is this horse was allergic to alfalfa. So Dr. JACALYN, I don't know what you know about horses, but alfalfa and grains are essential to their well-being and their balanced diet. When they don't get that, like Dee, our horse, they lost weight constantly. So I got stopped by the police a couple of times. When I was walking them or taking them around, and it was really tough on me. But I knew that I could help this horse go through life better with us. But it took me quite a few vet visits to get certified letters that I had to carry around with me all the time. Remember that. Don't jump to conclusions and just assume somebody's not caring for their pet. It could be a disease. It could be cancer. It could be old age. And I hope we all can be a little bit more loving and say, hey, I've noticed your animal, and I'm just curious, do they have some kind of, illness? And a lot of time people are willing to talk about it unless they've been yelled at too many times. And I literally had to walk around with a note on my horse's stall and on my person from my vet, so that, because I got stopped all the time. And then the animal people would come and say, hey, we heard about this horse. He looks terrible. Oh my gosh, he looks terrible. And then the man I was boarding with at his place, and here I pulled out the paperwork, and they go, wow, we've never heard of this. My horse was allergic to alfalfa. It's really, really rare. I've never met another person who's gone through that, but I figured I could give him a good life. And we did. We had 15 years together. It was a nightmare half of the time, but I know a lot of people learned a lot about this from our horse.
Yeah, that's really beautiful what you're sharing, personal knowledge and personal experience. And I think that's really what we provide here in so many ways. And I think it's important that people realize that you offer a number of services. So I want to bring up your website so people are aware of this so they can contact you. So the website is bridgingworlds.us. And let's go down and just realize here that people are able to connect with you. They can click on these buttons right here. They can also watch some of the shows here. Yep. But I want to just go down really to where you have your offerings. Here you have right here, just click, please help me and my pets. A little more about animals, book a reading. So here it is. Tell us a little bit about these pet readings and these training tools.
Well, I'm really, really blessed to have, and I've been this way my whole life. I've never been around psychics. I've never been coached by one. And I found out really fast because people would find me talking to the cat when I was little. And I'd be describing my day and how we were going to go, because I was alone. I was the youngest of a lot of people in my family. And so I was talking to the cat, and everybody would go, well, are you expecting them to respond? And I'm thinking, well, but he did. And he's like, and I'm like, you didn't hear that? And what people don't realize is just because you don't speak English or French or Taiwanese or something else doesn't mean you're not speaking. Right? I had never explained it like that. I'm going to have to keep that, because I think we get really narrow-minded about, oh, English is the best way to communicate. No, it's a one way. So a horse is going to communicate one way before he kicks you, and the goat and the cat and the dog are all going to communicate differently. You're never going to have the relationship that you're dreaming about, or I hope you're dreaming about, until you stop and get to know your animal. You have to watch their ears, watch their tail, watch their fur and their body. Especially you get a cat and it goes, okay, let's walk away, because that looks like you're really upset and they're trying to look bigger. because we're kind of big. You got a dog showing their teeth to you all the time. Maybe he just has bad teeth and he's not growling at all. And you just assume he's growling. You know how many animals, Dr. JACALYN, are put down because somebody misunderstood and said, oh my gosh, he's going to kill me. He's going to eat me.
Yeah.
No.
I think that's a whole episode that we can discuss because there's a lot there.
Absolutely.
I just want to come back to your website and just show people that the opportunity to work with you is here. The costs are all here, and they can click right here to get an appointment. And there's all kinds of information that's just fabulous right here. Just book an appointment. So that's what we want people to do. And obviously go to our YouTube channels, USA Global TV and Radio and Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and follow us. And they can go to the playlist, Coexistence and Sustainability. So that's a wrap for today, my friend, as our next show is coming up. It's been an absolute pleasure. So I want to wish you a beautiful weekend.
Absolutely. And everybody, there's so many fabulous shows here. It is something, what I love, I can listen to you in the car. I can listen to you in the house when I'm doing, making a meal. It's so nice, Dr. JACALYN. You've given this platform so much breadth to do and easy to watch and listen. So thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for all your contributions.
Absolutely.
So we're going to sign off and go over to our sponsors. We have a brand new sponsor, Cybersecurity Easy. So let's take a look at this. And we look forward to seeing you for our next show. Royal breaking news from London. We also have shows on Saturdays and Sundays now. So we're streaming 7 days a week. Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
We face daily cyber risks, spending over 7 hours of screen time, including 4.5 hours on mobile phones. This convenience comes with significant dangers, with cybercrime costs predicted to exceed $10.5 trillion by 2025. In 2023 alone, seniors lost over $3.4 billion to cybercrime. Our goal is to make social engineering concepts of cybersecurity easier to understand. We work with business teams, senior living facilities, investment companies, and educational institutions, both individually and in groups. We offer real-life examples to help you recognize and prevent attacks, with sessions available both in person, in selected regions, and remotely. Schedule your training session, or to learn more, contact us today. Call us at 847-845-9360. Email us at info@cybersecurityeasy.com. Protect your team and family with cybersecurityeasy.com.
My name is Dr. Felix Kravitz, and I am the founder of cybersecurityeasy.com, LLC. We live in a world full of vulnerabilities and cyber risks. We spend almost 4.5 hours a day on our mobile phones. It's over 7 hours of screen time daily when including computer use. We often forget that this convenience comes with risks. Published data predicts that the cost of cybercrime will exceed $10.5 trillion in 2025. These numbers encompass not only businesses, but also each one of us, including our children and our parents. In 2023, the FBI reported over $3.4 billion lost by seniors aged 60 and older. Cybersecurityeasy.com LLC's initiative is to massively support the community by providing cyber safety coaching and improving social engineering awareness. Our goal is to make social engineering concepts of cybersecurity easier to understand. We work with business teams, seniors, and educational institutions, both individually and in groups. We cover various topics from phone phishing attacks to AI-generated voice cloning, robocalls, password protection, and more using life examples. Talk to us today. Call us at 847-845-9360 or email us at info@cybersecurityeasy.com.
Hi, my name is Dr. Felix Kravitz. I have taught seniors and understand the crucial importance of online safety education for this community. I have also taught and worked at various colleges, universities, and training facilities in the Chicago region. My goal is to educate seniors, helping them to feel safer while navigating the digital world. Call me today to learn more and get started. Together, we can enhance our seniors' understanding of safety concepts when using technology. Contact cybersecurity-easy.com LLC by visiting our website www.cybersecurity-easy.com. Call us at 847-845-9360 or email us at info@cybersecurity-easy.com.